Hey everyone, Abdul here, and in this video I'll be sharing with you guys a custom lead generation AI app built on Lovable, Anything, and Superbase as the database. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. So here's the dashboard of the lead generation web app, and this whole thing was built on Lovable without a single line of code. I vibe coded this, as it's called. So just to explain what this terminologies in the dashboard means, as you can see right here, we have a lot of numbers here. We have some graph and also some recent jobs. So the total leads scraped is just, when we have this lead generation, basically, first of all, what it does is that it uses Apollo search link, and we are going to use another external app that's called Epify to scrape that link, so that we can, reduce the cost. We do not need to sign up for Apollo, like $49 a month. I think that's the lowest plan for Apollo, so we do not have to sign up for that. We can actually just go in there, you know set our parameters, and scrape that search parameters with another third party. And I think for 1,000 leads, you can scrape that for $1.50. Comparing that with Apollo's $49 a month, it's a no-brainer, right? So first of all, the huge and main advantage of this system is that it's just way cheaper for the same result you'll get if you paid $49 for Apollo. So what we have on the dashboard here is just showing us everything that we've done, like just a general overview of what we've done so far. So this is the total lead scraped. So when we scrape these Apollo search links, the cumulative of all the leads that you've scraped so far would be logged here. And then here's just qualified leads, and this is just like a POC, proof of concept, but you can choose what your qualification criteria are. For me, I just chose my qualification criteria to be that if they have an email that's verified, then that's a qualified lead for me. But you can customize that for your business. Maybe you want the business to be only in the United States. If they're not, then they're not qualified leads. You can choose really whatever criteria you want as a qualified lead. And then here, campaigns run is just how many times have you run a campaign in this web app. And basically, a campaign is you creating a job, as I'll show you guys what a job also means. It's just creating the Apollo search link and clicking on star, and it's going to script that search link that is considered as a job. And then here we just have a pie chart that's showing us the job's status. We have different positions status for a job. It's either queued or running or finished. So right now, as you can see, when I was testing this, I we had this test job here, which I named testing job, and then we had the lead count of that particular job to 500, and the status is finished, and it was created. This is the date it was created, and we can also view the leads here. This is where we actually have to view the leads. So this is it for the dashboard. I'm going to show you guys. And then the next one we have is the new job. Now we can either access this from clicking on this button here, or we come here and click on new job. So I'll just access it from here, and this is where we actually set the Apollo search URL parameters. So this looks awfully quite a lot like Apollo itself. So say for example, we want to set the criteria of what we want, so we can filter that by the emails, the job titles, the company, the location, the number of employees, the industry and the keywords, the market segment, and SIC and NAICS, right? And then it's just going to show us the preview here, and then here we can just like name the campaign. As you could see from the dashboard here, I named this campaign testing job 2. This is where you can name your campaign for organizational purposes, and then here you just specify the number of leads that you want to scrape, right? And then we can just click on create job here, and we can create a template also, from like maybe you want to run that same search parameters more than once or very often, then all you have to do is just to save that as a template, and you can be able to do that without repeatedly doing that every single time. So we could search for people and for companies. And then the next one we have is the settings. Now, when I was building this, my focus was that I want, for example, I'm just putting myself in in like the end user, and you know, the mistake that I see or what I see a lot of people do is that they build this anytime workflows, but and they allow their clients to sort of like communicate and interact with these workflows just on the back end. The anytime workflows are cool, don't get me wrong, but like the clients, they're not really interested in that. They just want a way to communicate better, or like to interface better with these workflows. And I think that having a front end that allows them to do that without ever seeing the back end is just the best way to go around these workflows. So I have here is where you are going to load your API keys, because these are like the softwares that we're using for the workflow, which I'm going to show you guys in a minute. So we have the Open AI API key. You're just going to grab that and put that here. We have the Apify token. It's an API key for Apify also. You can go grab that and just put that here. And then we have the Animal Finder key. This is just like when we are verifying the emails, we can also grab that and put that here. Say you're the end user, right? And then you can save those keys. Now those keys are saved in Superbase. So anytime we are running that workflow, it's going to dynamically pull that key and insert it in our workflows, right? But since I've done that and it's saved in a database, we always have access to that. All I have to do is just load my keys. I'm going to click this right now, and you'll see that it populated this automatically. That's because it's already saved in the database. I'm going to show you guys the schema of the database and the backend and everything, right? And then here, when we script deletes, we have the options to CSV export, columns, the name, the email, the title, link, URL, company, and company website. So these are, for example, you do not want to export the LinkedIn URL, you can just click on this, because at the end, we have the option to actually export our results as a CSV file, and we can, import that maybe to Instantly or any service that we want, right? So I'm just gonna I have the options to save setting here. So settings saved. Now I'll just show you guys a quick demo of this. Say we want to scrape, do an actual job. So I'll just go, for example, I'll say the lead should have an email, and the job title should be, let's say, CEO and co-founder. Yeah, I think this is enough for now. Exclude titles, none. Paste past job titles, not really. Management level, let's say C level, and owner, right? And then we have company. Do you really want to specify a company? No. And location, let's say United States, and the region or state is going to be California. And then I'll just leave the city. I don't really know any cities in California. And then for the employees, let's just say we need companies with 1 to 10 employees. And then the industry, let's say, I don't know, let's say software. And then, yeah, we're just going to leave this. And then here we will choose the number of leads we want to scrape. Let's say 500, right? And then I'm just going to come here and execute this workflow. So because I have to do this for the webhook to be listening, right? I'll explain this workflow when it actually executes. So we are just going to click on this, creates job, it's created now, and now you'll see that it's actually queued. When it starts running, it's going to update this to running. So we have, oh, I forgot to put a name, but it just like automatically pulled this. Anyways, now it's actually changed to running, and when it finishes, it's going to change to finish. So when it finishes, it takes quite a bit of time. So when it's finished, I'll get back to you guys, and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, now we can see that the status here has changed to finish. And now this button appears here where we can actually view all the leads, right? So if I just click on this, you'll see that we have the name of the lead, the title, the company, the email, the LinkedIn, and the company website, and the time it was created, right? And we can actually also filter, because if you notice here, we have some fields that do not have the email. So we can just filter, for example, say we only want all of them that have the email. And don't worry, I know I said that I have some qualification criteria where, the qualified ones are the one that have the email. But I just like to have all the leads, even the ones that don't have the email. Then I separate the ones that have emails only in another tab. Those are the qualified ones. And then I'll just say, for example, I'm just looking for the leads that have emails. I'll just click here, and you'll see now that all the leads here are only the leads that have the email. And you can actually, click on the LinkedIn. So this is the LinkedIn profile of the lead, and this is, for example, the website of the lead also in Tempo Health, right? Okay, now that we see that everything is working fine, I'll just click out of this. And, so now say I want to export this. Um, let's say I want to export only the ones that have emails. So I'll just select everything here, and this option, export as CSV, I'm just going to click on this, and I have access to it here. So I'm just going to go leads, and I'll just open this. Now we have access to this CSV file here, and we can export this to instantly or any email sending platform, or for example even another workflow that just enriches all these leads, which I will be building after this one. So stay tuned for that. So yeah, we have access to this CSV now, and that's if we go back here to our dashboard. Now we have two jobs. We have I'll show you guys that we have only 2 qualified leads, but we also have 2 campaign runs. We have total leads 1,000, right? And I'll show you guys the N10 workflow now. Okay, so the first step that we have in N10 is the webhook. So whenever we click on this create job button here, it sends a JSON file of all these parameters that we just selected. It's going to send it as a JSON, and I'll just show you guys what that looks like. So you see, where is it? Where is it? Filters JSON. So this right here, it's going to send this JSON here, and this I'll show you guys why it does that in the subsequent notes, right? So it sends information like first of all the name, the mode, people or company, the status, the progress, the lead count. We are using all these variables down in the workflow, and then we have the filters JSON, and then down here we also have the API keys, OpenAI, Epify, and Animal Finder, right? And then after that, we are creating a job in Superbase. The reason we're doing that is so that the dashboard would also be updated in real time, right? You see how we were able to get the number of jobs. The job ID will be needed, also this ID right here, and the name. How we could see all that in our dashboard is because we are creating the job in Superbase. So this right here is just creating the job in Superbase. So first of all, you have to create our credentials, and then after that, we are we're creating a row in Superbase, and then the name of that table is jobs, and then we are just mapping what we're going to send to that table, right? So this is everything that we need in that table. First of all, we need the name, and then the mode, and then the status, and then the progress. This is all sent from the webhook that we had previously, right? And then after we create that, Now we have to send it back, because if you could remember the first time, it was queued and then it showed running. Now this webhook is what's going to send the status, the job ID. And then when it sends that job ID back to NetN, it's going to send us to that page. And then it will change that, it will update that job status to running. So this HTTP node here, all we're doing is a patch method. I know this is getting a little bit technical, and I'm not going into details here, but I'll just show you guys how this works. So we are doing a patch method. Remember, we already created the job here. Now we're just patching that job, because initially it was queued, but now that it's already started, now that we want to start running it, we'll just say running here, because we want to actually start running it. So we just do a patch to this URL endpoint here, and this is just our APIs. And then we just put the status to running. This is what allows us to see that the status is running in our dashboard, right? And then here, remember how we have that Apollo, the filters JSON? We feed it to this AI, and the job of this AI is to create an Apollo search URL for us, right? So with all those information, I've written a very comprehensive prompt here for this AI, and it's going to convert that JSON filters to an Apollo search URL, and it's going to give us an output like this. Now, when we have that Apollo search URL, now we can send that to Apify. Apify is a third-party software that we're using to scrape that Apollo search URL. And if you don't know what Apify is, it's just a large marketplace of scrapers for different services. You can find scrapers for scraping YouTube channels, YouTube comments, transcripts, various scrapers. So this scraper, what it does is that it scrapes Apollo search URL. So we are just posting, we're using a post method to this endpoints right here. And we have our credentials here again, and we are just sending that. So if you see in the body here, we are just sending the total records. That's how many leads we want to scrape. And we're getting this from, remember here, any number we enter here, this is where we're mapping it. And then the URL is from the previous node that the LLM is producing for us, right? And then when it scrapes this, it's going to get back the result. As you can see, we have 500 items. We have the ID, the first name, the last name, the LinkedIn, the title, the email status, all the information about that lead. And then when we get that, we are putting all the leads in Apollo. Qualified or not, we're just sorry, to not Apollo, to Supabase. Qualified or not, we are adding all of them to Supabase, right? So we are just going to map all this field. We are mapping the job ID, the name, the title, the company, the LinkedIn URL, if they're verified or not, the email URL, right? So we're just putting all of this in Supabase. Then we are checking if the email of we are checking for all the leads in Supabase, and we're checking if they have email, right? So this node here is just checking if email exists for a lead. As we can see here, for 479 of the 500 has email, and 29 do not have email. So if they have email, I actually limited this for the demo only. So I just limited it to pass only one of this 479, but ideally in production, it's going to pass all of them. And then we are verifying this email. Having that email is not enough. We want to reduce our bounce rate. So we verify this email, and we're using an email finder to verify these emails. So we just make another post, and we are using this endpoint here, and we have our credentials, and we're just like sending that email to an email finder. And then this node here is checking if that email is verified or not. If it's verified, it's going to go to the next step. If it's all actually email finder returns valid. So if it's valid, it's going to follow the true branch. If it's not valid, it's going to follow the false branch, and we're not doing anything with that. So we have the true branch here. Now we are merging this together the node, the lead that is verified, and the initial lead before verification. The reason we're doing that is because when we send it to an email finder, it's not coming back with all the information of the leads, that like their name, their LinkedIn, their website, and all that. So we have to like get all this information from this node right here. If the email exists, the true branch of this if node. In production, this node will not be here. I'm just limiting it to one, right? So we send that to the second input, and then we merge the emails of, we do some logic here where we just like merge the first and second, and if the email exists in the first one, it's going to keep the non-matches. What this does is that it's just going to merge the both of them together, and we will get all the leads from here that is verified by an email finder, right? And after we get that lead, we are going to upsert it to another table. Now that table is called verify lead. Now, in that table in Supabase, only the verified leads are going to be there, right? And then after that, we're just updating the job status to finish. Now I've done everything because we've scraped from here. We've gotten it. We've added we've changed the status of the job. We've sent it back to Lovable. Now we show that it's running. We generate the Apollo link, scrape that link with Epify, and then we add those links to the database. And we check if those leads have an email. If they do, then we verify using an email finder. If they're verified, we put this merge node here and get this if node, and we merge them together, and we check for all the leads that have email that are verified by an email finder, and then we merge them together, and then we have all the information of those leads, and then we put them in another table of verified leads. Now we've done all of that. We are going to update the job status to finished here. If you check here and in the body, we're just sending status to finished, right? And I'll just show you guys what it looks like in the database. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 tables. This one I'm not using. So this is the app settings. This is where we are storing all our API keys. Of course, I'll have to change this because it's showing everything. So yeah, it's we have the OpenAI key, we have the Epify key, we have the Animal Finder key. So if we come here to the settings and I enter these keys and I click on save my keys, it's going to save it to this table right here. And if I click on load keys, it's actually loading it from this table, right? And then the next one we have is job. So whenever we create job, it's going to store it here. So it has an ID, and then the name of that job, and then the mode of that job, and then the status of the job. This status here is also it's what's going to be checked for it to be able to show how many jobs are finished, right, or not. And then after that we have the leads. So this is where all the leads are stored, qualified or not. They're just added here immediately after the script by Apify. And then we have the qualified leads. This is where only the qualified leads, the ones that have email and is qualified by Animal Finder, this is where they're stored. And then this user setting, we're not storing anything there, right? And then this is where like the this dashboard here, all these values it has, this is where it's actually reading it from, and where you see V. So for the job progress, this is where it's reading it, the status to finish. And then we have after that qualified leads. As you can see here, it's 2, and if we come back here, you'll see that qualified leads is actually 2. And then recent jobs, you'll see that we have 1, 2 here. And if we just come here, you can see that we also have 1 and 2 jobs here with their names stored, right? And then total leads, you'll see that it's 1,000. And if we also come here, you'll see that it's 1,000. So that's basically everything of about this system. So we have the front end built by Lovable, we have the back end and its end, and then we have the database Supabase. This is a complete system, and actually, to be honest, how I see this moving forward is that clients do not really want to come back here. Imagine someone has to, maybe there's a form and they have to just put this here manually every single time. It just doesn't make any sense, right? It's just like seeing this back end. I mean, people would more likely want to communicate and interact with this thing from a place like this, rather than actually going to the backend and doing all this. And then the database also, they do not have to see anything about that. They just have to see it in a nicely created dashboard like this. If you guys want this workflow, it's in my school community, completely free. You guys can access this right here, this workflow in my school community, and you can access that through the link in the description below. So that's it for this video, guys. See you in the next one, and have a good day. Bye.